Roman's reign is undisputed, but is it good for business? You'll find out here shortly on this episode of Sigdaddy's Wrestling Show. Hello again. Welcome, everybody. I'm Skylar Sigdaddy. Sigmund, newly established role for J.O. It's the newly established role for him. He's not just the co-host. He's not the co-host. He has been promoted to the assistant to the podcast host for any of those Office fans out there. And welcome, everybody, once again to Sigdaddy's Wrestling Show. And we're here to discuss Roman's reign, no pun intended, holding both the Universal Championship and the WWE Championship. Is it good for business or bad? We'll discuss that here shortly, but plenty of stuff to get into. But hope you all enjoyed that episode last week with is AEW's roster too big? We enjoyed giving you our takes on that, and you can find that in the archives on Sigdaddy's Wrestling Show. Anywhere you get your podcast, whether it's Spotify, Podbean, the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcast. And J.O., we discussed that, but Roman Reigns' reign, it's going to be an interesting topic of conversation here this evening, because I think some people may think it's good for business, but I feel like most people would think it's bad.
I think the Roman Reigns fanboys would think it's a good idea.
There are plenty of them out there. There is the tribal chief. We do acknowledge him. We do acknowledge him on this show, but do we like him really? Do we really think his reign is good for the WWE at this point? You'll soon find out. But let's get into a couple of news topics here before we get started here with the main topic. Firstly, Jeff Hardy. So it was announced this morning that he had been arrested in Florida for a DUI. And this is according to the Volusia County, Florida records. He was booked on 3 charges: violating restrictions placed on his driver's license, driving with a suspended license or suspended or revoked license, and driving under the influence of drugs or alcohol. And this is his third such charge of the DUI. This is his third charge in the last 10 years.
Oof. And
so Jeff Hardy's issues are well documented. It's no new news that Jeff Hardy's had substance issues, abuse issues in the past.
Yeah, but he's had some demons.
Yeah, he's had his fair share of demons, and they continue to hurt him here because he did suffer a concussion actually recently in the match at Double or Nothing. He apparently suffered one back in May, just a few weeks ago. And they were actually scheduled to face Jurassic Express and the Young Bucks in a triple threat ladder match this week on Dynamite. I assume that's going to be nixed. He had just been released on bond here, I think today, at some point. I saw a news clip that said it was not too long ago, because it was like 41 minutes ago, like an hour ago when we were recording this. We're recording this on Monday night. But there's also more details. So ESPN's Mark Raimondi shared some details regarding the police report, and quote, per the Florida Highway Patrol arrest report on Jeff Hardy, a white car was seen swerving and running off the roadway Monday around 12:30 a.m. when the officer made a traffic stop and engaged Hardy. Wrestler seemed to be in a stupor and confused per the report. Once he left his car, Hardy was unsteady and smelled of alcohol. Per the report, officers through conversation learned Hardy had been drinking. Hardy could not complete any portion of sobriety exercises successfully or without risk of falling. The officer wrote in the report, quote, officers administered a breath test, and Hardy's first sample read 0.294 of blood alcohol content. Second sample read 0.291, and the legal limit to drive in Florida is a 0.08. So he is almost 4 times the legal limit.
He was over.
Yeah, it was
by a little.
by just a little. Yeah. Unfortunately, demons are continuing to come back into Jeff Hardy's life. Jeff Hardy's one of my favorite wrestlers ever. It's no, I've mentioned it on this podcast before. My top 5 favorite wrestlers of all time. He was listed number 2. Kurt Angle number 1. But he has had his fair share of issues. I don't know. I don't know what to say at this point. I'm in a stupor. I'm confused. I'm just kind of a loss for words at this point.
I mean, battling addiction, and it's not an easy thing to do. People make progress, and I know Jeff has for sure, but it's not. People stumble. It's not always going to be once you get better, you stay better. It's just unfortunate part of it, and it looks like Jeff might be going through that again.
Well, if there's a point where you need to just, I know, like addiction is tough to beat. I couldn't imagine even what people have to go through in order to do that. But there's a time where you need to get help. And I feel like there's a bit of the 3 DUI arrests in 10 years. It's time to get that problem, try to somehow find a solution to it. I'd say. I don't know how else to say it.
100%. I mean, if that means Jeff has to take some more time away from the ring, I'm for it. And
it seems like the road's not the best place for him either.
Oh, it's not the best place at all. And I'd rather he never wrestle again if it means that he gets the help he needs.
I agree. I wholeheartedly agree that if he can get the help he needs, I'd much rather see that than have him wrestle. Because health is more important than anything you do in that ring.
True.
He's given enough at this point.
Right. So true. Yeah, at this point, he deserves to be able to sleep at night just fine, be able to be healthy with his family. He deserves all of that.
He needs to look out for himself.
Yes.
He needs to put himself first. It's like I gotta figure this out, because this has been a lingering issue going on for a while now. I just hope Jeff gets the help he needs. I really do. I hope he gets the help he needs and come out a healthy. He's got kids too. He's got kids, and so hope for the best for him and hope he gets this worked out and comes out better. And that's all I can say, really. All right. So another news note from this last week. So the injured Cody Rhodes versus Seth Rollins Hell in a Cell match where Cody wrestled with a torn pec got 5 stars from Dave Meltzer. You know why this is newsworthy, J.O.?
Because Meltzer never gives WWE 5 stars.
Not outside of NXT. Black and gold NXT. The last time he gave a 5-star match to a WWE match, when would you say he did? J.O. Take a guess.
Wasn't Punk Cena 5-star Money in the Bank?
Correct, and that was the last one.
And the funny thing is, I think with both of the matches, the CM Punk Cena and Cody Rhodes, Seth Rollins, while both of the matches were good, I think they really got those stars through the storytelling as opposed to the actual match.
I think, well, it was a combination, I think. That and the storytelling. But you know what's funny? I'm pretty damn sure it was in the same arena.
Really?
Because they were both in Chicago.
Huh. That would be kind of funny if it was. Because, yeah, that's why that Money in the Bank match was so intense, was because it was in CM Punk's hometown.
I gotta figure this out now. So I'm doing some quick little research here, everybody. Sorry. I'm making sure I'm correct. Yep. That's it. So
Nice little
and I
fun.
wait a minute. I gotta think this too. The one before that, the last 5-star he gave before that was in the same arena too.
I don't know which one that one was. Which one was that?
That was Hart Austin, WrestleMania 13.
Oh, going way back.
I got to make sure that too now. Now I'm curious. Yep. Okay. That's Allstate Arena.
If that's the case, that's actually kind of insane. It's kind of funny if it's just
all three of them are in the same arena. My gosh, this is a mind trip.
I was to say if it's the 3, that's actually insane.
That's
just
all
the
3 of
2
them.
is,
All 3 of them.
if it's just 2, it's just a fun little fact. But the fact that it's all 3 is actually kind of what are the odds? Like, does Meltzer know? Like, does he know that's what he's doing?
I can't even believe that. I didn't even think of that until like now. Wow. So WrestleMania, his last 3 5-star matches he's given to WWE. So 1997 WrestleMania 13 Hart Austin submission match. It took place at the Rosemont Horizon, which is now Allstate Arena. Money in the Bank 2011, Allstate Arena. Punk Cena. And then now Rollins-Rhodes Hell in a Cell 2022, Allstate Arena. All in the same building. It's the environment. It has to be.
I'd say I think we talked about it when we talked about that match. That crowd was something else that night.
Yeah, it was interesting, man. While Meltzer's star rating's very subjective, I think this match was worthy of it. But what I question, though, everyone likes or hates Meltzer's scale, whatever. But what I question about this is how this match gets 5 stars, but Brett versus Owen at Mania 10 doesn't. And HBK Kurt Angle at WrestleMania 21 doesn't get it as well.
I mean, like you said, it's all subjective. And I think just he was a big fan of the story aspect of it. The match itself was good, but I think you'd agree that the biggest part of that match that night was the fact that he was wrestling with a severe injury. And just the story of the, I don't know, underdog, not giving up kind of thing, like wrestling, like his love for wrestling. That's a story everyone loves.
So, yeah, you heard it here first, though, guys. I'm pretty sure. I didn't see this anywhere on social media the last week. But, yeah, the last 3 WWE matches, non-NXT, that got 5 stars, all took place in Allstate Arena. It was named the Rosemont Horizon, but it's now Allstate Arena. So they're all in the same building.
So you need to get that tweeted out.
I got to do that pretty much. I'll do that here tomorrow, probably. My goodness. But it's time to get to the topic at hand. Roman Reigns holding both the Universal and the WWE Championship at the same time. Is it good for business or is it bad for business? It's interesting because Roman's held the Universal Championship for quite a while, for quite a long time. He's held the Universal Championship since August 30th, 2020. So he's almost at 2 years with this thing, with the Universal Championship.
My goodness.
He's 2 months in with the WWE Championship. He has yet to defend either of them since WrestleMania. He is set to defend him, though, this week on SmackDown against Riddle. We'll get more into the nitty-gritty of what we think. Just wanted to give everyone a rundown of Roman's reign so far since August 30th. So back in December of 2020, after winning it from The Fiend, who is no longer with the company, he won it at WWE Payback. So The Fiend won the title from Braun Strowman at that pay-per-view at SummerSlam the week prior, and then they had Payback the week after, and then Roman won the championship, the Universal Championship from The Fiend. Then he defended against Jey Uso in September at Clash of Champions and Hell in a Cell in October, wrestled Drew McIntyre at Survivor Series, defended it against Kevin Owens at TLC and the Royal Rumble back in 2000, TLC in December 2020, and then Royal Rumble 2021. Beat Daniel Bryan at Elimination Chamber and at Fastlane. Beat Daniel Bryan and Edge at Mania 37 in a triple threat match, a really good triple threat match. Defeated Cesaro at Mania Backlash in May of 21. He took Hell in a Cell off in June. Beat Edge in July at Money in the Bank 2021. Beat Cena at SummerSlam in August of 2021. Beat your boy, J.O. Beat your boy, the Demon Finn Balor, who is now the leader of Judgment Day.
Via shenanigans.
At Extreme Rules in September 2021. The next month at Crown Jewel, he defeated Brock Lesnar. Then beat Big E in a champion versus champion match at Survivor Series 2021. Didn't wrestle at WWE Day 1 in 2022. He was scheduled to defend the title against Brock again due to testing positive for COVID, but Brock ended up winning the WWE Championship as a replacement to that, which I still don't think was a great move. Seth Rollins defeated Roman Reigns by DQ at the Royal Rumble 2022. Then Goldberg was defeated by the tribal chief himself by submission at Elimination Chamber back in February. Then defeated Brock in a unification match at Mania 38. Bloodline then defeated RK Bro and McIntyre in a six-man tag at Mania Backlash back in May. He has not had a title match since then. He hasn't had a title match on TV or on a premium live event, as WWE likes to call them these days, since WrestleMania. Like I said, he's set to defend the title against Riddle on SmackDown. So he's only missed, really, so looking at this reign, J.O., he's missed 2 pay-per-views in the whole time he's reigned as champion.
That's not a lot.
No, he's not. It's almost 2-year reign.
2 years. Yeah, and almost 2 years only missing 2 shows. That is quite an attendance record. That's impressive.
Yeah, but he's been persona non grata on the last 2 pay-per-views. Well, he's going to be on Hell in a Cell. Wasn't on Hell in a Cell, and their plan isn't for him not to be on Money in the Bank either. Whether that's injury or something else, who knows? Because he did look like he hurt himself at WrestleMania. He hurt his bicep at WrestleMania 38, possibly.
Right, and I asked you about that, right? I asked, the way they framed it, that had to have been at work because it was just too perfect. But I don't know.
Seemed
maybe
like they rushed to the finish too.
That was a quick finish, if I remember dodge a Superman punch, but then a spear.
It was the same carbon copy, according to a lot of people. It was the same carbon copy of every single match they've ever had, pretty much, outside of the WrestleMania 31, which I think they were able to capture lightning in a bottle there. And they haven't been able to capture it again since then. So they probably should just keep Brock away from Reigns for the rest of time.
Right. It's been done to death.
So, but here's the question. Is him holding both championships good or bad for business?
I would say, are we going to say what we think? Right now? In this very moment?
Yeah, in this very moment.
I would say yes, it's a bad idea for business.
And why do you think so?
Well, so, okay, we'll look at that keyword right there, business. So, how in WWE is a business. How do they cash in on their business? How do they make the most money is what I'm asking. So they have their draw, the tribal chief, Roman Reigns. People like right now. Not as much as they used to. I don't know, but it's
kind of, people are starting to sour a little bit on his reign, I think.
Right. But so for the sake of the argument, we'll say people do still like Roman. So they have the tribal chief as a draw, and he's the Universal Champion. Cool, that's fine. But those who aren't necessarily a fan of Roman Reigns, they need something to watch, someone to cheer for. And that's when you put the WWE Championship title belt, however, whatever WWE's calling it these days, on another superstar to have them as a draw. 2 big money draws for a pay-per-view, for a show. It's right there. But with Roman carrying both, you lose one. And, people tune out.
And then the piggybacking off that point, it leaves Raw without a major champion at this point. They literally have no major champion. Major champion on their show is a mid-carder. Mid-card champion.
That is true. It also doesn't make sense for, I don't know, it's like, are they going to end the brand split eventually? Because if they were,
I think they kind of were. I can't even tell anymore. I don't even see. I don't pay attention enough to realize it, but it still seems like they have certain guys kept on Raw and certain guys kept on SmackDown. So I think there was talks about it ending, but we'll see how that goes.
Because
they had Heyman appear. They had a Heyman appear on Raw today.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I mean, so if they decide, if that's what they were planning on doing, unifying the belts makes sense. But if you're going to keep it 2 separate shows, then yeah, you're leaving one show without its prize, without its title. What do the superstars on Raw have to fight for?
Like literally, they have the fight for the United States Championship, and it's Austin. Well, it's not Austin anymore. It's Theory, so it should be a Theory with a question mark. He's not going to be a game changer. He's pretty dang young still. I don't see everyone. There's not everyone, but Vince sees this big grandeur thing for Theory as the next John Cena. Blah 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 blah. And I'm like, I don't buy that crap for a minute. His gimmick's got to change before that happens.
Is it still the selfie guy?
Yes.
But it's actually kind of interesting, though. So having McMahon pick Theory as his guy, is this a sign that Vince is changing? Is he growing?
No.
Because you got to think, Theory compared to his previous guys, we'll say McIntyre, Roman, Lesnar, John Cena. Theory isn't. I mean, I'm talking built wise. He's not like those other wrestlers.
He's pretty built, but he's not like, I know what you mean.
Yeah, he's kind of, I'll say, but he's not like a giant walking mass of muscle like everyone else that I listed.
He's pretty muscular, but I just, the thing is, I don't like handpicking people. Let the fans tell you who's over and who's not. It's really that simple. And the word over doesn't make sense, really. That's because it takes time to get over, and that means you're a draw. But I learned that I saw Cody Rhodes made a good point on the Broken Skull Sessions podcast about that. That's when you're over, you draw. But this is the issue WWE has. They pick their guys, specific guys, like this guy's going to be the next superstar. Yeah, but what if that doesn't work? What if fans crap all over it? It took how long for Roman Reigns to go from that point to finally getting himself over?
Like what, 3-4 years?
No, it was longer than that. They were picking him so they handpicked him as one of the guys. So like when Punk initially introduced the Shield, Punk was the one that came up with the idea.
Right, I knew that.
And so he proposed Chris Hero, Seth Rollins, and Dean Ambrose at that point. They said no to Chris Hero. They went with their handpicked guy, Roman, which Punk was like, okay with it. And so Roman, he started getting bigger in like 2014-ish, 2015-ish. That's when he started winning titles, I think. 2014, if I remember right. I think, was it 2014 or 15? One of the 2 years.
Yeah, I would say it's around there.
I think it was 14. He won it in 14. And they had Roman Reigns win the win at they had him win the Royal Rumble in Philadelphia, which everyone just crapped on. They had The Rock even out there. They crapped on it. And he got the most mixed reactions out of everybody for quite a long time because the fan base is not absolutely stupid when they know they're force feeding someone down their throats. Mm-hmm. And I feel like they're doing that with Theory in a way. The gimmick is not gonna. It needs to. I don't know what, but
I don't know. Maybe they're doing
they're positioning him against Cena. Cena, it looks like, for SummerSlam because Cena's set to return on Raw next week.
And maybe Theory will get the rub, beat Cena clean, middle of the ring.
We'll see. I just don't like I don't like hand-picked guys.
Right.
Like Rusev. Remember when he got his merch was moving like crazy.
Rusev Day.
That was the hottest thing. WWE wouldn't push him to the freaking top.
No, they hate it when superstars get over on their own.
Daniel Bryan. That was another case.
Yep.
Kofi Kingston. That was another case where the fans forced that to happen.
So every now and then they'll listen, but even when they do listen, they only go half-ass on it.
Yeah, and then once they get the title on them, it's like, oh, how do we keep them hot? Let's put them in a bunch of feuds that don't make any sense, that don't portray them in the best light. Don't treat them like a main eventer. Don't give them a shot at the top, really. Because, let's take the title off of him in 8 seconds. That still burns me to this day, by the way.
Let's say he was champ for a few weeks. I'm sure the WWE Universe will be happy with that.
Who are we talking about?
Kofi.
Kofi was a champ from April to the debut of SmackDown in like September of that year. But they took the title off of him in 8 seconds, which was absolutely embarrassing.
Yep.
And they never recovered from that.
And he never tried to win it again after.
No. It was just forgot about it. Let's just act like nothing happened. Let's get back to the topic. Let's back to the topic of discussion here. So my next point with this reign being bad for business, this double title reign, is you look at Cody. He was one of the hottest things. He was the hottest person going. He looked like he was going to have the best shot at beating Roman in the future. But with him having that pec injury, and there was a chance he might be out for 9 months. There was some word going out possibly about that. I assume he might return sooner than that, but he's projected to be out 9 months.
Oof.
He had a successful surgery, by the way. But that alters WWE's plans, though, probably. Because they were probably thinking maybe not by SummerSlam, but maybe WrestleMania next year. They're altering his plans a little bit, their plans, because Cody was the top babyface on Raw at this point. And so
I'd agree.
So what they had to do with Cody being out, they had to shift people over. And I heard Edge didn't like the super way it was the Judgment Day was moving towards. It was more of a supernatural gimmick. Apparently, that was the rumor.
He didn't like that?
He didn't like they were going supernatural. That was not his idea. But so they turned Edge back babyface last week after Finn Balor and the rest of Judgment Day attacked him. So they turned Edge back. By the way, that's the fourth time Edge has turned from heel to babyface. Not turned heel to babyface, but has switched roles since he's been back in 2020. That's the fourth time he's flipped.
That's a lot.
In 2 years. But I assume this happened partly because Raw doesn't have a top babyface outside of maybe Lashley.
Ooh, and I even think Lashley's a stretch.
Yeah, I see. That's the issue. They don't have a top babyface at this point, which makes all the reason why Seth Rollins staying heel doesn't make a whole lot of sense either. Because he attacked Cody as he was making it after he made his announcement and stuff. So,
but with the character Seth has right now, though, that's not something you can just turn off, right?
Well, after Hell in a Cell, you would think there's a respect factor there.
I could see. I see what you're saying.
It goes both. It could go both ways.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Well,
I mean,
apparently,
even if they did the spot where Seth walks over to Cody, pulls him up, shakes his hand, and then walks away. I mean, does that with the character Seth had up at that point? I don't think that can just switch him to a babyface.
I don't know, but well, apparently his name's Seth Franklin Rollins now.
Oh wow,
It's not really that, JL. They just added on promotional material for like a pay-per-view and they accidentally put Seth Franklin Rollins on it. And then Seth switched his Twitter name to that, which is freaking brilliant.
That's hilarious.
Switched his name to Seth Franklin Rollins instead of Seth freaking Rollins. That's great though. He is like the ultimate troll, by the way.
He is. He really, really is.
I remember him doing the Rey Mysterio tights and then the Dusty Rhodes thing last time at Hell in the Cell with the polka dots. Great stuff. But so, my point there is that there's no top babyface on Raw. Who the heck's on SmackDown, by the way? Riddle was on Raw, and so the brand split is dead because Riddle was a Raw guy and now he's been on a SmackDown recently. So people crossing over shows and all that stuff. So Bloodline's been on Raw, so that's all. Yeah, it's pretty much dead, actually.
I mean, what? McIntyre's on SmackDown or no?
Yeah, McIntyre's on SmackDown.
Okay, so there's McIntyre.
I guess that's the angle to go for SummerSlam at this point because I don't know of any other one.
It has to be McIntyre. Or maybe The Fiend can come back? Yeah, let's not go too deep into our wishful.
That's a stretch. That's a stretch. I don't really need to see The Fiend back in WWE. I love The Fiend, but they didn't know what the hell they were doing with him most of the time.
I'll give you that.
But like I said, WWE, like they haven't built up anybody else to be a serious threat to Roman's title reign, like with the both belts. Like, and as much as Riddle's good, honestly, he doesn't stand a chance against Reigns.
No, I don't think they've built him up yet either.
He took the pin at WrestleMania Backlash, by the way, and the 6-man tag.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. Maybe that's the angle to go for. Just a guy who doesn't stand a chance, doesn't give up, and then through sheer luck and will is able to pull off a dub. I could see that happening for Riddle's character.
Not Riddle at this point. He's not serious enough. Like they said with Kofi, he wasn't serious enough. I just don't. At this point, you look at most of Roman's title defenses. He outmatches everybody. Like there is no one even freaking remotely close to being on his level right now. He is on a level that's out in some other universe at this point.
Okay, yeah, I'll say you're right on there. I can't really. I'm trying to think about it, and it's kind of making me laugh, to be honest. Trying to see Riddle give like a impassioned promo about how it's his time and everything. I really can't see that.
It's like, well, you're asking like a stoner dude to come out and be incredibly serious.
Yeah,
which is just not him.
No, and it's not his fault. This isn't a dig against Riddle. It's his character right now isn't built up to be a viable threat to Roman Reigns.
No, and like the comparisons to RVD and Riddle are pretty stark because they both kind of have the same mindset. They're pretty chill, laid back guys. By the way, RVD wrestled in Pro Wrestling Noah this past weekend.
I did see that. Ripe old age of 51.
He still looks freaking good.
Yeah, say he looked good. He looked good. He looks good for 51.
He did that freaking monkey flip like he always has. Beautiful, by the way. But like I said, they built nobody up to be a serious threat to Roman. Like the closest thing they had was Cody, and he's gone for a while now. So what the heck are they going to do up through the Royal Rumble?
I say, are they going to bring Roman back sooner than that? What they were planning, or maybe the fact that their top guy that they were picturing can't even be there. They let Roman stay away for a little bit.
I guess I don't know what they're going to do with that because it's you gotta have the belts defended at some point. This is like because otherwise it'll turn into Brock 2.0. I give no Roman Reigns. It's not like no. I'm not saying it's Brock 2.0 right now. It's not even close because you look how many title defenses he's had in the last 2 years on pay-per-view. He doesn't hardly miss. That's fine. But they can't let this continue for months on end without him having some kind of title defense. They're doing the Riddle title defense, but these title defenses need to be a little more frequent, I'd say. If they don't continue to do it like at this, if they continue to do it at this pace, because
Right.
it's been 2+ months.
And that was the biggest draw for Roman was he was a fighting champion. And yeah, you're right. They can't make it a Lesnar 2.0.
Because fans hate that.
No, yeah, exactly.
And then also, here we go. That's also played up into my previous point, but they have literally fed Roman everybody that could be a possible threat to the reign. Like, even a slight threat. The only person left outside of Cody Rhodes and maybe Seth Rollins, but he has to be a babyface. Seth has to switch to a babyface at that point. Is maybe Bobby Lashley.
Yeah. I don't want to say it's far-fetched, but it's not necessarily built up either, but he's closer than almost everyone else besides Seth.
And Drew is there too. That's the only Drew and Bobby are like the last two guys I can really say. AJ at the moment is not Styles. As much as I love AJ Styles, he's not near that at this point right now. He's just kind of out of the picture in regards to that. He's not been built up enough. Lashley's been getting some wins, building up some credibility. Drew McIntyre has been as well. Those are like the two guys that are left.
So it'll have to be because I don't think his feud with Omos isn't over after Hell in a Cell, is it?
Well, they won in a handy. They've been feuding the last 3 pay-per-views though, 2 or 3 pay-per-views.
And Lashley's won because he won in Hell in a Cell.
I thought he won at WrestleMania Backlash too, or did they not? I don't remember. I can't remember at this point. They dragged these feuds. They dragged these feuds on for way too long, by the way. Like WrestleMania is supposed to be the conclusion of feuds, but it was just the beginning of every single feud.
And I mean, you can even go off of the Hell in a Cell match. That looked like a definitive end to a feud because it was a handicap, wasn't it?
Yeah, Lashley won in a handicap match against MVP and Omos.
Yeah, so if you beat 2 guys by yourself, I think that's done. So
and they did this thing where Lashley was holding a replica WWE title at the end, and the crowd was super into that after the match. So maybe that's a possibility. But these are the only 2 people that are left to take the title off of take one of the titles off of them at least. Or he's just defending them both at the same time anymore. That's it.
Yeah, that was going to be my next question. So now that he's, unified, how does his title defenses go from now? Because if you're in the mind of the superstar and you get an opportunity to challenge for the title, you're not just going to ask for one. You're going to ask for both. So then, how do they separate at least one of the titles if they plan on doing that eventually?
Or the brand split is officially dead pretty much as I continued to think about it during the episode. It's like Yep. They have them on. They show up on this show and this show. I'm like, yep, that's dead. So yeah, they want both belts. It's the undisputed, I think, WWE Universal Championship is what they call it now. I don't know if they want. What you were saying?
I was just going over the name in my head. The undisputed Universal WWE Champion. Jesus.
The Universal Championships has been doomed pretty much outside of Roman Reigns.
And Finn Balor.
Finn Balor was doomed too because he lost like 2 seconds after.
He never lost the title.
He had to vacate it.
Remember your history.
I know he had to vacate it. He never lost it, but then he lost the match that he had later on.
Yeah, but that doesn't count. That was shenanigans.
Well, that long-term storytelling really came into play, didn't it?
I guess a small question to that then is, do they make a new belt? I hope they make a new belt. I hate the WWE logo corporate belts.
They're all going to be there. That's what they're going to have them on all of them pretty much, though. That's the thing. They're going to have the WWE Universe, the WWE logo on the major belts. If you notice, the Women's Championship and the Women's Championships and the major WWE Championship, like the WWE Championship and WWE Universal Championship, they're both going to be on there. The big logo. I don't like it either.
It's disgusting.
I'm as much as I'd like to see Big Gold back. I know that's not going to happen ever, and I don't think it should. But come on, get a better design,
please.
You might as well revert back to the spinner belt. Honestly, that's the case.
I take the spinner belts over any of the belts that Roman has right now.
The Universal Championship looked like crap since day one.
It looked better as red, though. I'll take the red over the blue. What about you?
Blue, yeah. I red sucked at the beginning, but then looking at the blue, I like the red better.
Yeah.
But this reign, I just don't think it's good for business moving forward because you're just pretty much, what's handcuffing yourself. It's pretty much just handcuffing themselves.
Yeah, the top prize in your company. Well, I guess, yeah, top prizes held by one person who isn't going to be on TV
all the time.
All the time. Then what are they even fighting for? What are all the WWE superstars fighting for?
And what's this going to mean for, like, I know TV ratings are not that important. It's all about the freaking television deals and all that crap. Television deals and the streaming deals with Peacock and such. WWE's making hand over fist money-wise, and then the Saudi deal, of course. It's just those are the major deals for WWE. But as a fan base, it's like, why should I care? And I know there's some WWE fans that are like they're fans of all of wrestling. There are some WWE fans that are fans of all wrestling, and then there are some that are just fans of WWE strictly and they're WWE loyalists, and they're not going to go away. But over time, especially with the streaming and all that stuff recently, it's kind of it's hurt TV pretty bad if you think about it. Like ratings are down on everything except sports, really. And even those are down a little bit too.
I say the Warriors in the finals again. Oh God.
But yeah, WWE's handcuffing themselves because they're leaving the major title on a guy that just pretty much appears on SmackDown exclusively on your major network show, and you're leaving Raw without a major champion. It's just going to be a problem. And there's just a lot of issues with this reign that it's not going to help WB moving forward unless they really start dedicating some time and building people up, because they have had 2 years to build somebody up and they have not done it.
I mean, they had their guys, so I guess in their eyes they didn't see the need to start on someone new.
Well, you gotta have a plan. They don't have a plan right now.
They had a plan.
Maybe
they were lucky. Yeah, they were lucky that Cody was able to come back, but through unfortunate circumstances, he's going to be gone to what looks like 9 months.
And it may be less, but still, they're like, what do you do? What do you do now?
I don't know. I wish I could see what they were thinking.
Because I have no idea. Like, what are they going to do? And you look at Roman's title reign real quick before we decide to wrap this thing up. Look at Roman's title reign. Most of these guys he's beaten during his like when he won it and when he has defended it. A lot of these guys aren't even in the company anymore. Like a good decent portion of these guys.
Right.
Got at least 3 or 4. I say 3 or 4, not decent portion, but some of these guys he's wrestled aren't even there. AKA The Fiend, he's gone. Braun Strowman's gone as well. Cesaro's gone. Daniel Bryan's gone. Goldberg, he's probably, I think that was his last match on his contract. He's gone. Brock, he's probably gone for the foreseeable future too. Until he decides he wants to come back.
I just said, oh God, because I'm hoping WWE doesn't think they're in that bad a spot that they ask Brock to come back. That'd just be a horrible idea.
I don't need Brock. Brock as a babyface was fun, by the way. I'll say that. But I don't need to see him back. I don't need to see him in any title picture ever again.
Right.
Ever again. But like I said, 3 or 4 of these guys that he's wrestled are gone. From
high profile guys.
Yeah. And you look at some of these guys in here. So half these guys are some of the best work rate guys in the freaking world. Daniel Bryan and Cesaro. And Cesaro's been
criminally underused.
You're telling me, you're preaching to the freaking choir that is the universe here. Yeah, that's pretty much it. It's just, I don't think it's good for business. It's going to hurt WWE moving forward more than it's going to help because they need baby faces. They need baby faces against Roman, and they don't have them right now. They don't have them. So
nope.
We'll see what happens moving forward for WWE with Roman Reigns' title reign as the WWE Undisputed Universal Champion. Is it good or bad? We think it's bad. What do you think? Let us know. Make sure to tweet it out to Sigdaddy's Wrestling Show at Sigdaddy Wrestle. You can follow Sigdaddy's Wrestling Show on Facebook, Instagram, Facebook and TikTok as well at Sigdaddy Wrestle, and on Instagram at sigdaddy.wrestle. You can also find the show on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Podbean, the iHeartRadio radio app, Amazon Podcasts, wherever you get your podcasts. You can find Sigdaddy's Wrestling Show. Make sure to leave a review just to tell us what you think of the show, because we appreciate all the feedback we can get. And yeah, that's it. And J.O., where can everyone find you at?
I am on Twitter and Instagram at Jeremy Ardas, all lowercase.
All right. Make sure to come at J.O. with your comments, with your takes, as well for Sigdaddy's Wrestling Show. The newly crowned assistant to the podcast host here on Sigdaddy's Wrestling Show. Next week's episode is going to be an interesting one. I hope you enjoyed this one, by the way, on if Roman Reigns' title reign, holding both belts, is good or bad for business. But next week's episode is 5 wrestlers. This is a doozy. It's kind of a weird one. It's kind of an obscure topic. 5 wrestlers you'd have back you up in a fight. Like 5 wrestlers you'd want to back you up in a fight. It's going to be kind of interesting because there's a lot of wrestlers. If you look at history, it's going to be interesting to see who we have and what kind of crossover we have on that kind of topic.
A lot of tough guys in the big dub. Or maybe not even just the big dub.
It's just wrestling, period. I pitched this topic to you last week, and I'm like, I told you, I thought of 3 right off the bat.
Right. Yeah. There's a few that just jump out right at you.
Like, you'd want these guys to back you up in a fight. And you'll hear our takes here next week on Sigdaddy's Wrestling Show. Looking forward to that episode. But before we go, Jo, you have anything to say before we close things out here?
No.
All right.
Other than, thanks for listening, and, so we'll see you guys next time.
All right. Well, that's Jo, and I'm Skylar Sigdaddy Sigmund saying thank you again for listening to Sigdaddy's Wrestling Show. And so long, everybody.